That's the first step.
Footage from today of Lamar Jackson at practice.
This guy.
We are
This
so
guy
back.
Brew, not Lamar.
We are
Sorry.
so back.
Ravens in Pittsburgh, win in, you're in. Danny, we'll start with you. Is this game more about Lamar or Aaron Rodgers?
So, to me, it's more about Lamar because there is some question about his future. With the immediate future of how good is he, how healthy is he, how happy is he with the Ravens, is he okay with his coach, and then what are they going to do? Lamar will be a huge talking point for us this offseason, pretty much regardless of how the next couple of weeks goes. Aaron Rodgers' story, I think we should have universal agreement on. One of the most talented players in the history of the sport, a 4-time MVP, who now no longer goes out with like an embarrassing final chapter. Like the Jets' final chapter would have been embarrassing. This, he hasn't been a distraction. He hasn't said ridiculous things. He had a winning record, and it was a normal season for Pittsburgh. So, like, I just don't think the last technical game for Aaron Rodgers' career is that big of a story. His career is a huge story, but we have a lot more questions about Lamar Jackson than we do Aaron Rodgers at this point.
I agree with you, B, but slightly different reason. Rodgers, it's over. Even if they win, nobody's going to think they can do anything in the playoffs. And I get some people feel that way about the Ravens. But because of Lamar Jackson, he's in his prime, because of what he's done in the past, like, I think there will be a lot of people that feel like, oh, man, the Ravens, they're coming in with some momentum. Lamar, assuming he plays well against the Steelers and they win, is playing well. Derrick Henry's had some great games. Like, I think for the league, if the Ravens win this game and Lamar plays well, it really starts some antennas raised.
The league is rooting for Pittsburgh.
Yes,
is what
I
you're saying.
disagree with you guys on that, but go ahead.
Wow.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I just think for Pittsburgh, I mean, if they make the playoffs, they're what they were last year. I know Rodgers is better than Fields and Russell Wilson, but nobody's scared of them, I don't think. So even in that weak AFC playoff field.
This is where I think Wild, you and I might be aligned, but maybe your affinity, and I don't say that in a negative way, for Lamar makes us not aligned on this. Why are the Ravens, for the 2025 season, some scary potential juggernaut in waiting, and the Steelers, who played the Ravens this month and beat them, who have a better record, who have played the same schedule essentially, you know what I mean, for the most part, who have been the at least slightly more consistent team and certainly healthier at the most important position. Why is one team, well, if they get in, the whole league's the league is worried about the Ravens getting in.
The quarterback.
But again, so I don't think the league looks at Lamar Jackson in the playoffs as, God, we got to keep him out. Like, we're wish casting.
You think Houston feels like they got the answer to Lamar Jackson?
Houston, I think, would look at whether they are going to Pittsburgh or to Baltimore very similarly. We are a road team that should go win that game. We're better than that team.
Whose best has been best this year? Because you got to be at your best for 4 games. Like, I would say that the Ravens.
What is the Ravens' best? I'd love to hear it. Tell me the Ravens' best game. And let's talk about it.
They haven't put it together.
They haven't put it together, but you talk a lot about the Chiefs' pedigree of the past. The
Ravens' pedigree is playoff failure. The Ravens' pedigree is getting worse in the postseason.
What's the Steelers' pedigree?
The mediocrity.
Like not winning.
That's
for
correct.
Sure. Losing the playoff game.
Yes.
That's not the Ravens' pedigree recently is certainly better than the Steelers.
The Ravens' postseason pedigree recently, yes, I agree. I don't think either one is. I think the Chiefs' example is a red herring because the Chiefs were coming off unprecedented, even by Patriot standards, postseason success over a half-decade stretch. You just said whose best is best. Like it is New Year's Eve. The 2025 season is wrapping up. What is the moment from this season where, like, that's when the Ravens put it all together? I don't know. It hasn't happened with Lamar at quarterback. I know that.
So do you think Lamar Jackson is no longer a great quarterback?
I think this season Lamar Jackson is not a great quarterback.
He was great early on. He had a 5-game stretch of horrible play.
Yes.
He's been all right the last few games. I'm just saying, but unless you feel like he's done.
No.
Not done, but he's 29 years old. He's still in his prime.
Yes.
I agree with you that we haven't seen the true Lamar for a while, but because of his age, I feel like the potential is there.
No,
like it could pop any moment. Rodgers is not about to pop any moment.
Rodgers Wild showed it. Like, was coming off his best 3 games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers are coming off their best 3 games of the year. The Steelers were, and again, I don't believe in either one of these teams, to be clear. I'm not all of a sudden arguing that I think the Steelers are some dangerous team. I just think that it is, when we say the Ravens' best this year have been losses.
Right, like week 1 against Buffalo.
Make the argument.
Pounding
and this
Cincinnati.
is what I said before, why I was scared of the Ravens when the Patriots played the Ravens. The Ravens are a poorly dressed guy. That being because nothing ever matches. But I feel like come playoff time, like, hey, here's what you do. You take these pants, your best playoff game, your best defense, and then match it with your best Lamar game and take off that silly hat, which is the turnovers, and then you have a full outfit. They haven't been able to put it together. Lamar was bad, the defense is great. Right. Lamar is great, the defense is bad. If they can just put it together and eliminate the turnovers, that is a very scary team.
Nick, that's not to mention Derrick Henry either. Like, he by himself is scary.
I think Derrick Henry is a great player. I think that a lot of people believe Lamar is he wasn't playing poorly, he was just hurt. Well, he just suffered a new injury that was big enough he missed their biggest game of the year. And that we were all, curious to see whether or not he was going to practice.
I like the fact that he's rested throughout.
But this feels to me like this isn't just about Lamar to me. I think the Ravens defense, I know the numbers have been good. I just watched them in a must-win game that we thought they had to have or they weren't going to be able to make the playoffs, blow a double-digit lead to a playoff caliber team in New England in the fourth quarter. We know they have that in them. Like we just saw them do that. I just watched Malik Willis play himself into maybe a $25 million contract by completing 90 or 85% of his passes for 3 quarters until he got hurt against them in a different must-win game.
And you just watched them shut out Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
I don't put that.
I'm just saying that's a fact too.
Yes, they absolutely did. But it would be just like crazy to me if I said, guys, the reason, and again, right now it doesn't work because he's past his prime. But if 4 years ago I was like, Danny, the reason I think this is going to be the year that James Harden's scary is because he had a bad regular season. All those years he's fallen off in the playoffs, he was having an MVP caliber regular season. But now that he had a below his standards injury-riddled regular season,
that's totally
this is
different.
Why?
Because football is about contact and collisions, and basketball is totally different. And Lamar's postseason record is not as long as James Harden's. James Harden, it was a decade plus before we finally were like, you know what, he's just not going to get it done in the playoffs. Lamar, give him 5 more years like this, and it will be like he just don't do it in the playoffs.
Do you think, obviously any team can play the best version of themselves in any given week, right? So if I was just going to tell you, on Sunday night, the Steelers are going to play an A game, and the Ravens are going to play an A game. Who wins?
The Steelers.
Really?
The Steelers.
How?
Can I say
They just played
without DK
and
Metcalf? Their A game is not available.
There's a controversial drop pass away from losing that game.
Say it again.
Without DK Metcalf, the Steelers' A game is off the board.
Okay.
He had 140. It was his most targets, most catches, most yards all year against the Ravens. So that's gone. Right. So it's like Adam Thielen, take us home.
To be clear, I don't think either of these teams are contenders either. But if I got their A game, I think the Ravens.
Lamar's A game because if I thought Lamar were fully healthy, full go, we were getting the week 1 pre-hamstring Lamar that we saw leading into the Chiefs game briefly. And then, obviously, the Ravens' A game is scarier. We are hanging he was coming off his worst 5-game stretch since ever.
Yeah.
Then he was 8 for 12 in the Cincy game, right? Was that
he
the
played
game?
well that game.
Right, but it was
150
12
yards.
passes, and he definitely played well. And then 7 for 10 in a game that he got hurt again, missed a game from. And to me, it's wish casting that the Ravens' best game involves Lamar Jackson being Lamar Jackson. Since that Chiefs game, that player has not been here. All that's happened is more injuries to him. And we are more recently removed to the best Aaron Rodgers we've seen as a Steeler, which was leading into the Browns game. That's what,
I just
to be
don't
clear.
think they need Lamar at his best to beat Pittsburgh. Because if you got Derrick Henry at his best, I think that's enough to beat the Steelers.
I don't know. All right, right now, well, buckle up. I know you're thinking, man, stats aren't cool. I've seen guys who talk about stats, accountants. They're just not cool. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're dead wrong. And here to prove it is Danny in the coolest segment in all of sports called Packed Stats. This thing gets cooler and cooler, dude, and I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here, hanging out with friends. It's cool.
Thanks.
Week 18, brought my stats. You guys know what else is cool?
No.
Dependability.
That's true.
That is true.
I just like knowing what I can depend on.
That's cool, man.
And Brew was like, Danny, why do you still like the Rams so much? Because they're dependable. They have only been outscored by 17 points in their 5 losses this season. So I can depend on the Rams being in every game. That's the second smallest margin of defeat for a 5-loss team in NFL history. They're either going to win the game or barely lose. Those 5 losses to the Eagles, Niners, Panthers, Seahawks, and Falcons. They're going to be in every game, Brew. That's
like
why I
that.
believe in them. They're dependable.
Here's the problem, though. You know what you can't depend on? Their defense. Matt Stafford can keep them in games, but the defense might give it up. Here's their stats. Yeah, they started out hot. That's why they were everybody's juggernaut. But now, look at that, 28th, 29th, tied for 26th, 25th.
That's a cool grade.
That's dependable. How you like that?
Cool. Brew, you know what's uncool? Calling out your friends in public. And I might just briefly, tepidly, do it to you right here, Brew. Because we have let Brew get away with something. We have let Brew neg everyone's best team without ever saying who he thinks the best team is. Because I don't think Brew thinks there's a best team.
No, it's wide open.
That's why we play.
See,
That's why
but
we
there
have the
has
Super
to be-
Bowl.
There
That's
has
why we
to
have
be
the
a
Super
team
Bowl.
that right
point by you.
now has the best.
It's
resume.
wide open. We just said it's
That's-
wide
he
open.
won't
Talk
say
about
it.
Captain Easy
So
stance
he's
over there.
just
Yeah, that's not the
saying
best team.
this
Who
is
wins?
the-
13 wins.
No matter who, because he won't say the Pats.
Nope.
He-
Wilds doesn't have the
the-
best team either. Who's the best team?
The Patriots are the best team.
He thinks it's the Patriots.
We could have gone undefeated.
He really does think it's the Wilds will say the Patriots. Brew doesn't want to believe in Darnold. He's not there. He's
Not there on the Broncos.
You're right. He's just not there.
That's why I'm excited about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's going to tell us
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out who the best team is.
That's cool. That was cool. What else? Do you have any other cool stuff?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh, great.
You guys know what else is cool? Well, I need my lights first.
Yeah, we need our lights. We
Need
gotta
our
pull
lights.
off this. There we go.
Darkness is cool.
Yeah.
Darkness.
Darkness. You know what else is cool?
What?
History.
I agree with that.
If the standings hold as they are today, we will make history for these NFL playoffs, with the 1 and 2 seeds in each conference having quarterbacks who have never won a playoff game. It's never happened before.
Wow.
The fewest playoff wins for the 4 quarterbacks of the 1 and 2 seeds is 2. So this is, obviously you can't have less than 0, but it is shattering a record. You got to go all the way back to the 80s for it. This, of course, would be if the standings hold with Sam Darnold and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Drake May. I don't know how everyone here values experience
I
in
value
this
it
sort of
quite a
thing.
bit.
I know you do, but we have never seen before. I told you guys last week we had never seen so many 11-win teams at this point in the season. If the bracket holds, we've never seen this much inexperience at the top of a playoff.
I like that.
So that to me is another one of the reasons that we're saying this is wide open.
Absolutely.
It's not just that Mahomes and Burrow are, let's say Mahomes and Burrow and even Lamar, say the Ravens, Lamar loses and Mahomes out. But if the number 1 seed in the AFC were Buffalo and the top 2 seeds in the NFC were Philly and the Rams, we wouldn't be saying it's wide open. You know what I mean? We'd be saying like those teams with those.
If they played, great this year.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They to
Like
be
if
the one.
Buffalo had his typical season the past few,
To be the 1 seed, they would have to, is my point.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, if those teams had the season that looked like the Rams were going to have, the season Philly had last year, Buffalo's actually never been the 1 seed, but they've been close a few times, and those quarterbacks were at the top. It's also, I think, KW, one of the reasons you are so confident, because in your mind, Drake May has 12, 13 playoff wins. You are
in his personal record.
in your mind's eye, Drake May is a grizzled veteran that has dealt with the playoff pitfalls. Like, that's how you talk about him. Like
I really view Josh McDaniels and Vrabel having a ton of experience. And when I say I can't see Drake May having a bad game, it's really because I think that Josh McDaniels has bad game proofed his game. This isn't working, we'll go here. If that's not working, we'll go here. If Drake's inaccurate, we'll switch it up. He's like the opposite of what Kevin Patullo's doing. Ben Johnson has, I guess I'll give Ben Johnson some, didn't win a Super Bowl, but
No, he did not.
he's got some playoff experience.
All right. Well,
Sean Payton won
it's wide open. All right, you guys got time for one more?
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You know what else is cool?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Puzzles.
I agree with that also.
And I'm going to ask my friends
Puzzles.
to help me solve the
are
puzzle.
Puzzles are cool.
They're the
Great
coolest.
Yeah, they're the coolest puzzles.
A lot of pieces, small pieces. Well, this is a 2-piece puzzle. I need you guys to help me solve the puzzle that is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the champs. They could be the 2 seed. But what do you do with the team that has the 19th ranked offense in the NFL, which would be among the lowest ranked offenses in the history of the Super Bowl era to win a Super Bowl? It's happened before. The 2008 Steelers, the 2015 Broncos, the 02 Bucks were right there.
The 2015 Broncos almost don't count because it was Peyton Manning was the quarterback.
Right.
So it felt like they had a better offense than they did.
But in terms of low-ranked offenses to win a Super Bowl since the merger, that suggests they're not going to win it. But if I give you their defense, their offense is bad, you score below 17 points, they have a winning record in games where they score below 17. And every other team since 2000 that has had a winning record with that amount of games played has actually won the Super Bowl.
Every other team?
It's right there.
Those teams.
Just those 4. Wow.
Those are the 4 that have had that winning percentage when they score less than 17 points. They all won the Super Bowl.
Drew, why are you brushing off your
He
shoulders?
loves the 2012
I've
Ravens.
just been telling y'all,
What?
the Eagles are live.
Drew, they're not you. Not only are they not your pick, they're not even your
No,
backup
but they're
pick.
live.
The Niners
They're
are
live.
your
Y'all don't
backup.
even think they're live.
They're Wild's pick.
He doesn't.
Everyone's
They're
live.
He
officially
doesn't
my
believe.
pick, but man, very tepidly.
Well, so Brew, is that how you would solve this puzzle? By just saying, yeah, of course, the Eagles are live? Even with this bad of an offense?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know their quarterback can dial it up a little bit.
I
have to.
I am really interested in what this week looks like.
Oh, the Tanner McKee show?
Yeah, I am. Because
What if A.J. Brown demanded the
So
Because-
what if he cooks?
it has no impact on who's like Jalen Hurts, their starting quarterback this year, next year. Like, that's not what I mean.
You think fans though in Philly?
If I were Kevin Patullo, I would just run the ball this week. There is nothing to be gained from Tanner McKee and the passing offense looking good. Like, there's just nothing to be gained from it.
He leaks a
The-
story to the media being like, I needed a quarterback to unleash
Yeah.
my brilliance on the
and
offensive
so
side
I
of the
just
ball.
like so I want to make it very clear. Like, I think Philly fans have overrated Tanner McKee in
Yes.
their mind's eye, and I understand he's had a couple nice moments, nice in the preseason. It's a cool project for long term. But I think it's interesting that Philly is saying we don't value the 2 seed. Because they can still be the 2 seed if they win and Chicago loses, that they value. But I also understand giving yourself a bye. Like, I'm a big proponent of that, and they're simply saying, we think if we have to go to Chicago, we can go to Chicago and beat you guys.
Also, Mariota's not playing for Washington. They're still a 4.5 point favorite. So they think their backups can beat the backups for Washington.
Which maybe they can, but I'm just really, I think that the Eagles are trying to thread a sports radio WIP needle this weekend as far as winning the game, not getting guys hurt, and not having the offense all of a sudden look like, wow, where's that been?
I think that's like, obviously, it's no real quarterback controversy, but for fans,
yes,
if McKee cooks, it's gonna be crazy.
It's more of a Petullo issue, not.
I agree, but I'm just saying
with fans in Philadelphia as well.
Oh,
I think fans in Philadelphia, it's also a Sirianni issue.
Yeah,
and understandable.
Cool, man. I feel cooler being here.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go home and do a puzzle.
Back here on the OT, ringing in the new year. Make sure, gentlemen, update your health benefits.
Okay.
You know, maybe a trip to the eye doctor is in order. So today we will be applying the eye test to the contenders, but only who is the most vulnerable among the contenders. Keyword though, contenders. That means no NFC South teams are included. No AFC North teams are included because we don't know who's going to be in the playoffs yet.
Rude.
Out of the AFC North. And of course, the Green Bay Packers are not included. So, to the bottom of the eye chart, as I see the league clearly. These are vulnerable contenders, but this is how you know that I'm a man of integrity. Because I will admit that my Chicago Bears are a vulnerable contender.
you're finally being
Because
honest.
that defense is a big yikes of a situation. I mean, they're 22nd in points. We can throw up all the numbers for them. It is ugly. 28th in yards, 28th in pass touchdowns. They're bad against the run. They're bad against the pass. They're bad on the scoreboard, and they're bad at big plays. The only thing they're good at is turnovers.
They are opportunistic.
They are very opportunistic, but even when they got to pick 6 against the Niners, they still lost at a shootout. So if we go back to the eye chart, who's the team right next to them? The aforementioned Niners. Obviously a contender. They could be the 1 seed with a win. But I wanted to do the exact same test looking at the Niners defense. It's also a big yikes. Wow. Like, the Niners defense is terrible. The Bears defense is terrible. Either one of those teams could just give up 35. Offense has a few fizzle out moments.
We saw it the other night.
And they lose with a great game. So those are vulnerable teams for the exact same reason. And then the last team on the bottom line is the New England Patriots. Crazy, unbelievable season, but I think the strength of schedule thing matters here. And it's not like, oh, that's unfair. It's the easiest schedule any team has played since the Rams in 1999. Now, in fairness, the 1999 Rams won the Super Bowl.
They did.
But still,
And they were filthy.
we've never seen a team, playoff or otherwise, have this easy of a schedule as the Patriots. That makes them vulnerable when you have to play good teams 3 weeks in a row. To the second row, as we look at the vulnerable contenders, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know I'm not very popular with Duval Nation right now for some of the things that I've been saying. Trevor Lawrence just had the worst passer rating game against the Colts since Geno Smith in Week 5. He was not good. I've seen him go on hot stretches before. I believe he went on a hot stretch the previous 6 weeks before that game against the Colts. I know the winning streak is there, but I just do not trust Trevor Lawrence. We'll see if I'm right come playoff time. While I trust Justin Herbert, the offensive line situation for the Chargers is well documented. If Justin Herbert would play in Week 18, which he's clearly not, he would have set the record for most pressures and potentially for most hits. Or he would have set it for hits, had a shot at most pressures. It's a historically bad, historically injured offensive line. Obviously, Justin Herbert could just get sacked 7 times in a game and get eliminated. They're a vulnerable contender. But who's the most vulnerable contender? As I look into my crystal ball and see the league very clearly, it is the Denver Broncos. They are likely the 1 seed in the AFC. I don't have a good comp for a team with this type of profile. The Broncos have won 11 games by 1 score this season. Bo Nix in those 11 games has completed 63% of his passes for a passer rating of 83.9, meaning he has 11 wins with a passer rating in the low 80s. This year, Bo Nix against the Titans, Jets, Giants, and Raiders, the teams picking 1 through 4 in the draft, the 4 worst teams in the NFL. He has 5 passing touchdowns and 4 picks with a passer rating of 77 in those games, and they won those 5 games by a combined 21 points. They just They play down to their competition. And they have a remarkable ability to escape when their quarterback plays poorly. Some great fourth quarter comebacks, some great moments, great pass rush, but they are a very vulnerable 1 seed. So that is how I see the league for vulnerable contenders. Greg, do you see it the same way?
I don't see it the exact same way, but I want to focus on the Chargers because I look at the Chargers as being one of the most vulnerable contenders because obviously we know how excellent they are defensively, but because of all those issues you talk about offensively up front, and even what we don't talk about is the drops in the passing game.
Way too many drops.
We do not talk about that. If it were the Chiefs, we would talk about it. We don't talk about that. But it forces your quarterback, Justin Herbert, to hold on to the ball, try to get guys to uncover, and then he leads your team. He's led this team 7 times in rushing, and I think we have a graphic to show some of the numbers to support it. Obviously, we've seen the sacks, we've seen the hits taken, but the running back issues, they can't rely on their running game, which they had a really solid running game to start, and then the injuries got them.
Yeah,
but
him leading them in rushing 7 times is insane for a Harbaugh team. It's crazy.
To go into the postseason and this be what you're hanging your hat on, it just doesn't feel good. Obviously, we all know who Justin Herbert is. We know he's tough. We know he's gritty. We know he has the talent. But if he's the only thing that's high tide and everything else is low tide around him, something's got to give. And I just think that because of that, they probably don't make it out of the first round.
It adds to the hits total on him too. Right? He's taking hits, dropping back to pass, and he's taking hits when he has to run the football. I do think the Patriots are a pretty good matchup for them though in round 1 if it breaks that way. Willie, how do you see the vulnerable
most
teams?
vulnerable playoff team to me is the Patriots. Obviously, we know Drake May is having a hell of a year, possibly MVP for this season, but defensively, they're the worst red zone defense in the league. They rank 31st. They lack to get turnovers. They're not able to get after the quarterback. And now with the off the field issues with Stephon Diggs and their star defensive tackle Barmore, they're in trouble. I mean, this team could be seriously one and done. And you talked about their strength of schedule. What scares me about the Pats right now is they haven't been tested. They haven't been taken to deep water. Every team that's on this list right now, no matter how you feel about them, they've had a worthy opposition where they can feel if they got the goods or not. The Pats necessarily don't have that. So, I think the Pats would be in and out, and unfortunately, it may be a quick exit.
What do you guys make of this thing I did in Pack Stats with the guys in the last segment? This would be the first time in NFL history that the top 2 seeds in each conference, none of the quarterbacks would have a single playoff win.
I saw that.
Like in terms, like Darnold, Caleb, and here it would be Drake May, Bo Nix. It's like it's a weird year in that I can point to flaws in every team. Experience, your defense, your strength of schedule. It makes it fun. It makes it wide open. But on that part, like, how much would you say inexperience is a contributing factor, say, to your Patriots?
Well, inexperience is huge. Like, one of the things that, and it goes back to the Niners situation with them getting the bye, like, when we were able to get the bye, one, we were able to get rested, but 2, the guys who had been there, done that, they were able to talk to the rest of the guys what it means to make a run, how you should prepare yourself, your mindset going into those games. Even guys who had lost playoff games, what it meant to go back and how important that game was in consideration to saying, hey, man, you never know when you're going to be back. So that kind of heightened our sense of urgency and really dial in. When you have that experience, it means a lot because some guys don't know what they don't know. But the guys who have been there say, hey, man, this week, this is what you should be focused on. This is how you prepare.
And when you talk about guys not knowing what they don't know, this is where I feel like sometimes the lack of experience, you don't know any better. So you think that
an ignorance is bliss situation?
Ignorance is bliss. You believe that, I don't care how young we are, how much experience we do or don't have, we feel like we deserve to be here. We've earned a right to be here. So when you look, for me, looking at the Patriots, their schedule is what their schedule is. They have one of the best quarterbacks playing in the game and in the playoffs. They will have a chance. If they can be consistent, you got to get to the red zone to score. They don't let you get to the red zone that often.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.